Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today you cannot see me right now, obviously. I'm sick, so one really quick thing is if my voice sounds a little bit weird today, that's why. But also, this is the reason why you can't see my face right now. I have Vaseline all up on my nose because my nose is drier than the Sahara Desert right now, so I had to put it on there to moisturize it up, and I look like a Goomba, so I'm not gonna use the face cam for it today. But either way, though, today's video is 7 signs to show that you are a good driver. Before we get into the video really quick, I want to ask if you guys could please subscribe to the channel. You know, over 80% of you guys are not subscribed. I'd really like to see that number into the 70%. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, so coming in at number 7 is a easy one, a small one, a simple one, but it is that you always put your seatbelt on. On top of that, also making sure that your passengers have their seatbelts on. Dude, here's the deal. Seatbelts are not that uncomfortable, okay? I hate that excuse that, oh, seatbelts are uncomfortable. No, they're not. The worst part about seatbelts is if you're like driving somewhere that's only like 5 minutes down the road, you just feel like you don't have to go that extra step to do it. That's the part that kind of sucks about seatbelts. But actually putting them on, you can barely tell they're even on. So just put your damn seatbelt on, man. It can freaking save your life. Like, that's not something that people are saying just because they're like, oh, seatbelts could save your life. You know, that's what the government told us. No, like, it can save your life. Do you want to get thrown out the front windshield? do you guys remember Live PD? I saw a Live PD thing where it was an accident on the highway, and it was a very minor accident. Girl would have walked away with 0 issues if she had worn her seatbelt, but she didn't, and so her freaking noggin was just sitting straight through the windshield. So you're not cool if you don't wear a seatbelt. Make sure you wear your seatbelt. You're a good driver if you wear your seatbelt. Number 6 is going to be that you use your blinkers. I cannot stress this enough. This is another thing that like car guys think that they don't have to do for some reason, or that it's like cool if they don't use it. No, it's not cool if you don't use your blinkers. You're just an a-hole. Use your blinkers, man. Even if you're going fast, like if you're driving pretty quickly on the highway and you're going somewhere and you're passing in between people, still use your blinkers, man, because it just helps. It's an ease of mind. Like if you're behind somebody and they just randomly start turning, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, he's turning that way, I guess. But if they put your blinkers on, you're gonna be like, okay, that's a good. Let me tell you a story. Actually, I have a family member. I'm not gonna say which one, but one of my family members was pulling into their driveway one time. They didn't have their blinker on. They were just pulling into the driveway. The person behind them, it was dark out, obviously. They were like coming home from work, but the person behind them rammed into the back of them because they didn't notice that they were turning into their driveway because they never had their blinker on. And I know you might be like, well, what about taillights? Guess what? Guess what, boy? He had a freaking taillight out. So, of course, they're not going to see. It was just obviously a bad circumstance for him to be in. But either way, though, stuff like that can happen. And it will happen if you don't use your freaking blinkers, okay? Use your bloody blinkers. On top of that, if somebody is going kind of quicker than you are on the highway, they're coming up behind you and you don't see them and you have a blinker on, at least that's a little bit of a warning that the car might be turning. Otherwise, they're just going to keep driving and not think that they have to worry about you. And it's just use your blinkers, man. Number 5 is a little bit of a twofer. It also kind of goes into the using your blinkers thing. It's that you always are checking your mirrors and turning your whole body around. Now, obviously, I don't mean turning your whole body around if you're like on the highway and you're changing lanes. What I mean by that is if you're backing into something, or if you're in a parking lot and you're backing out of a spot, you always got to do the hand on the back of the seat maneuver, you know? Hand on the back of the seat, turn around, look behind you. Also keeping an eye on those mirrors. Mirrors are your friend, man. These motorcyclists, I understand why they do it, but we're in a car, okay? We can't just like turn our heads around and look like 180 degrees behind us at ease, okay? That's very hard to do. Motorcyclists, yeah, they can do that, so they can take their mirrors off if they want to, but not in a car, all right? They're there for a reason. Always adjust them, make sure they're correct. On top of that, dude, there's so many times where I'm freaking jamming in my car, listening to my music at like the loudest volume in the world, and a cop car or an ambulance or a fire truck comes up behind me, and the only reason why I know it's even behind me is because I see them in my mirrors. So use your damn mirrors, turn your body around. Also, if you have a car like a freaking Camaro, for God's sakes, you definitely got to start using your mirrors or turning it. They got blind spots out the wazoo, so you look everywhere if you're changing lanes in a Camaro. Number 4 is actually going to something that sounds so obvious. It sounds like everybody would do it, but nobody does it, and it is not driving under the freaking influence. Listen, if you're like an older person, you might be watching this video and you might have forgot, or if you're younger, you probably don't even know how bad it is yet. But the amount of people that actually drink and drive is insane. I go to bars now. I'm 22 years old, so I go to bars sometimes. I'm always the designated driver. That's just because I don't like to drink though, but still, like, even if I didn't like to drink, I'd probably still be the designated driver. I'm always sitting there watching all these people who just downed like 5 shots of Fireball, and then they go and sit in their freaking lifted Chevy Silverado and go home. It's like, dude, that is incredibly dangerous. What are you, like, you can kill somebody. I know somebody from my high school, actually. I went to school with him, and his father passed away from a drunk driver. You could kill yourself if you're drinking and driving. It's ridiculous. And on top, like, there's also obviously don't do drugs and drive. When it comes to, like, you know, the green stuff, that's a little bit different because you could probably, let's be honest, you could drive on the green stuff. It's really not any different. But if you're on anything else, if you're on like a hard substance, alcohol is obviously a big one. Don't drive, okay? You're just risking the lives of so many innocent people and your own life. And I know you're like, well, I hate this saying too. I hate this saying. But everybody that's like, oh no, I'm actually a really good drunk driver. I actually drive really good drunk. No, you just think you do because you're drunk. That's kind of how it works, man. You're not good at driving drunk. I've seen it. Okay, I've been in the car and somebody's drinking and driving, and I'm in the passenger seat. And I'm like, dude, pull over. I'm driving. You suck. You suck at driving right now. So just please. I know like everybody tells you to do this, and I don't want to sound like your mom, but don't drink and drive, dude. It's not worth it. Coming in at 3rd place, actually, this one really heavily applies to car guys, and pretty much car guys only, to be honest. But it is that you only drive hard on the back roads that you know. A lot of people like to think that they're freaking the guy from Initial D, I forget his name right now, but that guy, they think that there's some toge master, and that every road that they could go on, they can conquer the first time, and they fly down all these roads, and they don't know the roads, and then they crash. If you want to go fast like that, go on a road that you've been on before, something that you know the corners, the speeds that you can take those corners at, the blind corners, because there are so many blind corners out there that they will get you, and just know the road that you're racing on. If you're not comfortable, or if you're not familiar with the road that you're racing on, then chances are you're not gonna do too well, you know what I'm saying? So I would recommend, on top of that, it's not even that like interesting racing on a road that like you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, because then you're just kind of guessing the whole time, and you're not even actually pushing it to the limits because you don't know what the limits are. If you're on a road that you know, you can push it to the limits and be like, okay, I know how fast I can go around these corners, and make conscious decisions. Another big one that has to do with going like racing on back roads is setting up a spotter. That is, like, people don't do that a lot, and they absolutely should. And what that means is, like, you find a road that's very curved, whatever, that you want to drive up and down and see how fast you can go up it, and you drop your friend off at the top and you start at the bottom, and then your friend and you go on like a phone call, and he tells you if any cars start coming. That way you know to start slowing down. That can save lives, man. Coming in at the 2nd spot is another one that has to do with racing and racing safety on the roads, and it is that you only race when there are no other cars around. Now, before I get into this one, I actually want to say for those past 2 ones, I know there's going to be some comment out there being like, well, you don't have to race on the roads at all. Listen, we are car guys. We are broke car guys. Most of us just want to have fun, just like everybody else, and we're gonna race on the roads, okay? The majority of us do it safely. The majority of us know what we're doing. But yeah, sure, some of us don't, but that's not how most of us are. That's why I'm kind of making this video, okay? So I don't want to hear any, you don't race on the roads, take it to the track. Everybody races on the roads. You know damn well you've raced on the roads before. Everybody has, okay? So stop lying. Either way, though, racing when there are no other cars around is an absolute must. There's really no reason to put other people's lives in danger. I hate that new trending, like cutting up in traffic, or like the whole freaking takeover stuff. All that stuff, it's just, why? I understand that, like, it does look cool, and I'll admit, it does. It looks pretty cool. Like, I see that stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty interesting. I actually saw somebody fly by me in some Mercedes on the highway one time, and he was cutting up in traffic, and I was like, that looks fun. But it's not worth it. It's just not. You can get the same effect by just driving on an empty road that has corners in it. Or if you want to go like really fast in a straight line, yeah, you take it to the highway, but you wait until there's no cars in front of you. I've raced plenty of times on the highway, and what you do is you slow down. You give you and the guy next to you enough space in your lanes to get the run over. You don't risk other people's lives. You don't cut up in traffic just so that it looks cool or you feel cool, because it's, at the end of the day, it's not that cool, man. But of course, the first place, this one is something that people like actually kind of like, you know, like to see. They like, what am I thinking of? The word that I'm thinking of. They like idolize it, you know, they make it like seem like it's cool, but it's that you don't scare your passengers. I've seen so many people out there that are like, yeah, dude, I drive so fast, my passengers are like terrified. It's not, that's not a good driver. Okay, now there's a big difference between, like, you know, you get your mom or your girlfriend or your sister or somebody in the car with you that aren't used to going fast in cars, and you like do a quick little pull in your turbo Honda, and then they get scared. There's a big difference between that and like literally scaring them because they're like, all right, dude, stop. Like, there's been times where I'm in a car with my car guy friend and he's in my passenger seat and he's like, dude, slow down. And if a car guy friend is telling you to slow down, it's probably because you're going too fast. So I slow down. It's just, if you respect them, okay? They're not going to want to ride with you anymore. It's not like you don't look cool doing it, just seem like an a-hole. Now, yes, you could do it once or twice and give them a little scare, but after they tell you to stop, just stop. Just laugh it off and be like, all right, just, I'll stop now. But it's that easy. Don't drive like a maniac just to try and seem, especially, I know it happens all the time when it comes to girls and young kids. I'm a young kid too. I'm not saying like, you know, I'm an old dude that's like been around the block, but I'm just saying like, happens all the time with young people. And when they have a girl in their car, oh my God, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't guilty of that. It's very easy to be like, oh, they'll think I'm so cool if I go fast right now. It's not, man. It's not. They don't think you're cool. They just don't want to ever drive with you again. All right, so don't do that. You're not a good driver because you can scare people in your passenger seat. I can scare people in my passenger seat too. I can drive it off a cliff. That doesn't mean that I'm a good driver. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the 7 signs that show you are a good driver. I hope you enjoyed. And once again, sorry that my face isn't in this video at all. I apologize, but I'm so sick and I got all this Vaseline on my nose and I look like a look like a dog. You know how dogs' noses are always so wet? Well, that's what I look like right now. And I didn't want to show you guys that. So either way though, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, in the top of the description is going to be a link to my Grand Theft Auto Online channel if you want to go check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.